What is the solution to the tyranny we see in your city, in your county, in your state, in your country, and in the world? Is it to elect a politician who doesn't even abide by his oath to uphold the Constitution, protect your rights? Or is it to look in the mirror, whether you're a man or a woman? That man, that woman, that's the hero that's going to save the day for you and me both. And if we're lucky, we have some positive, peaceful, moral people around us who actually have integrity and understand basic human rights and aren't going to violate you. Hey everyone, welcome to the Freedom Lovers Show. I'm your host, David James Rodriguez. We're building a voluntary world, one relationship at a time. And it's a very important time in human history, not just because of an election, but because people are realizing that government authority is illegitimate. Because in the founding documents of the Declaration of Independence, which we all celebrate for freedom on July 4th, it says the just powers are derived from the consent of the governed. So if just powers come from the consent, that means some of you people who do want to consent to be governed, you're welcome to do that. But for sovereign individuals like yourself and many millions of people who are realizing their rights come from God and nature, whatever you choose, then we don't consent unless we have a contract and the terms and conditions are explained. It's essential you understand the difference between consent and coercion. Either you voluntarily consent or you're forced into it with threats of harm to your person or your property. It's very important. Also, you got to understand the definition of a crime. There must be a victim in a crime. So some of you guys might be triggered because I'm driving while holding a cell phone. Well, I'm actually not driving because this is a private conveyance which I'm in. I'm handling a private matter. There's no cargo in the car or passengers which are being transported for profit. I'm using this as allowed by the Supreme Court in the decision Kent versus Dulles and other decisions as well that say liberty includes your right to travel. So I don't recommend you go out and speed and take risky behaviors. However, you're free to do what you want as long as you don't harm another person or their property. So what we're discussing now is what's the solution? And the solution is you taking back your mind from this mind control, because government actually means mind control. Gubernare, to govern, and mente is your mind. So are you ready to take your freedoms back from the criminals who have deceived you through a very intentional and conscious basis? These guys know that your personal power is their demise. Your love is their demise. Because we're all part of the human family. There's not a bunch of different races. There's one race, the human race. So once we can start finding that common ground of mortality, because in 100 years, we ain't going to be around, my friends. So we are wise to live our life, to love, to breathe, to hug, to handshake, high five, to do whatever you wish, start businesses, cut people's hair, massage people, sell your goods on the corner. And when these people violate your rights, you're going to do a Title 42 federal lawsuit. And we don't want to harm any of these police people. You know, some of you guys are really nice guys. But when you put that uniform on, you have been trained that you can just stop people, kidnap them, harass them, violate their Fourth Amendment, and they're also the undisclosed rights per the Ninth Amendment. So you guys don't even know the law and your law enforcement. Don't you think that's a little bit strange that when we bring up the law and actual past legislation that you guys have no clue what we're talking about? Yes, because you guys are being used as pawns in the game as well. So you're being pimped and played just like the rest of the people. And it's not okay. So solution is, remember who you are. You're a beautiful son or daughter of God or the gods or nature, evolution, but you're not subject to the government unless you voluntarily consent. So that's the solution, my friends. If they're not going to let you shop in their grocery stores because you have a medical exemption and they don't believe in freedom of choice, shop somewhere else. If they don't respect your right to choose, your basic human rights that government did not give you, that God gave you, then shop somewhere else. If you get kicked off the airplane, like my friend in Southwest and Alaska Airlines, if they're so tyrannical that they're going to bow down to the criminal organization known as the government, then take your money elsewhere. Build your own farmers markets. Build your own businesses, restaurants, because this is what the year is. 2021, the year of the voluntarist, the year of somebody who believes in voluntary relationships. That's all it means. If you believe and practice voluntary relationships, then you're a voluntarist. But if you think some people are exempt from morality or have supernatural powers and gifts and rights that you don't have, you're a victim of statism, which is a cult belief in authority based on nothing other than the words of politicians. So do you trust politicians? Do you trust pharmaceutical companies who cannot be sued for their vaccines according to the 1986 Vaccine Injury Act? If you do, I invite you to step out of it and take a look at some of the videos when I ask young people and old people who's responsible for their health. And they give you the most wild answers, which is, yes, I am, and the government's responsible. Yes, I am, and the community's responsible. No, they're not. I'm responsible for my health. You're responsible for your health. So we're going to start building businesses, organization, markets, enterprises, airlines, travel companies that respect freedom of choice. This is the future, my friend. Unless you want your kids to be enslaved by the tyrants at the governor's office or the president's office or the mayor, the council, or the supervisors. Those guys are public servants. They swore an oath to protect your rights, and here they are violating them, and many of you guys are staying silent. I understand. I used to be silent too. I was afraid. But we're no longer afraid, and the momentum is coming to freedom. And it's going to be a beautiful year. So let's build the solutions. Let's take a look in the mirror. And let's build what we want. If you don't see something out there you want, build. Find other peaceful, moral people to get along with and create it. You are the human creators, not the robots, not the slaves. So even if you ask people about freedom, one guy said freedom is boring. Well, if you think freedom is boring, then you are a fascinating slave. And I have a lot of empathy for you because you've been brainwashed and deceived by the mainstream media, government, schools, and all the propaganda to help you give up your rights. So just some ideas on solutions. It's you and me taking responsibility for our lives, 100% responsibility for our health, for our freedom, for our happiness, and we can create because that's what we've been given, the right to think. So let's learn to think for ourselves, build for ourselves, create for ourselves. The solutions are inside of you and me. The question is, do we have enough courage to pursue it, to try, to make mistakes, and to persist? I believe you do, and so does all the people around me. Let's build it, my friends. Thanks for joining us. The Freedom Lovers Show. We're building a voluntary world, one relationship at a time.